Welcome back, everyone, to Fireside Sports. I'm Kendall Capps.
And I'm Andrew Williams.
All right, Andrew, the title game is finally here. You know, we started with 68 teams this year, finally whittled it down to 2 teams.
Yeah, and it's been a very exciting tournament. You had a lot of close games. Nobody really predicted it would turn out this way. A lot of upsets. You had 2 teams in this Final Four that no one expected to be there.
Well,
really.
there weren't as many upsets as some other years, but I felt that there were just so many evenly matched games, evenly played games in this year's tournament, especially from the Sweet 16 and on. There were barely any clunkers the last couple of weeks of games, and including the Final Four, we had 2 more great games. And Butler getting back to the title game, kudos to them. It's amazing what they've been able to do, despite no one really giving them much of a chance.
Yeah, and they were playing a VCU team that I thought was underrated. We underrated them going into this tournament. People didn't think they should be here, and they went on a run. They were blowing teams like Georgetown, Purdue out of the water. But I think in the last 5 minutes of that game, Butler's experience from last year took over. All these guys and their time spent in the Final Four last year. The last 5 minutes, they kind of owned VCU and looked like
they really did. VCU made some mistakes that they hadn't really made throughout the tournament. They were turning the ball over late, and also they weren't hitting their threes late. And Butler does such a great job with the adjustments in game, especially at halftime, getting out on shooters, and they were able to lock them down for the most part.
Well, and defensively, VCU's 2 shooters started off very hot, hitting threes in the first 10 minutes, and Butler's defensive adjustments shut them down. I think they made 1 more 3 the rest of the game, and Butler kind of took over. I just felt like they were the aggressor the entire game.
Yeah, absolutely, and they deserve to be where they are once again, and they're going to play a UConn team that hasn't lost, it seems like, in forever as well.
Although they almost did. Kentucky with a last-second attempt to beat them last night.
Yeah, no, I mean, Kentucky, they put themselves in a deep hole. You don't want to fall behind that defense of UConn. They play really well. They play as a unit, and they were able to hold them at bay. Kentucky made a few runs, but ultimately I think the better team won, the aggressive team won in that game as well.
And it's hard to say enough about Kemba Walker and the things he's doing, not only in this tournament, but in the Big East tournament as well.
In the Maui Invitational. In tournaments this year, UConn is undefeated. They haven't lost a single game in any tournament they've played in. It's been quite impressive. The Big East tournament for 5 games in 5 days is against some of that competition. It really says something of this team. I mean, they finished 9th in the Big East. For them to make this run, it somewhat legitimizes what the Big East is about. They lost a lot of games in this tournament, but their 9th best team is in the title game.
Well, and now we've got a title game with Butler and UConn. You're looking at a team that is normally going to be the underdog, a mid-major team, still probably a little bit of an underdog, but they're the team that was there last year.
With all the experience, and outside of Hayward, they have everyone back. And with Shelvin Mack, who's playing at a level that not a lot of people have talked about in a tournament, but he's playing at an extremely high level, shooting the ball very efficiently. And if they can keep that rolling, you know what their defense is going to do. They're going to hold you to 60, and if they can score just over, which they tend to do, they usually find a way to win.
Well, and I think Kemba Walker is definitely the best player that Butler's seen so far in this tournament. But Butler really has played that high level of competition, especially other teams with a lot of size like UConn has. They've played Florida, they've played Wisconsin, and they held those teams to low-scoring, kind of ugly fest, which is what I see this game turning into. Probably a game that's going to be 60 to 65. I don't know if a team's going to hit 70. If anybody hits 70, I think it starts to favor UConn.
Yes, absolutely. I think if Butler's going to win this game, they're going to want to play their style, which is slow the game down. You don't want to get up and down the court, possession by possession. Get your full court defense in place, and I expect them to have some success. One thing that is key in this game, look for the foul trouble from Matt Howard. He was in a little bit of foul trouble last game. If he gets into that again, with that front line of Oriaki and Jeremy Lamb, who has really come on in this tournament, it could provide some serious problems for Butler down the stretch.
Oh, absolutely. But I like the way that Butler plays offensively. They spread the zone kind of like a hockey team so that they rebound as a team. All 5 guys collapsing on the ball. They own the boards. They play hard defense, and I think they've got the experience that, I know UConn's played well in these tournaments, but when the real pressure is on, the national title game, the spotlight, Butler's been there before, and they've been in these close games.
Well, we got maybe the 2 hottest teams in the NCAA left. The last loss for Butler was February 5th. Last one was March 5th for UConn. 2 teams going at it. Who do you like to win it?
I'm going to take Butler here. The last team to lose a national title game and go back the next year was the 91 Blue Devils. They won, beating UNLV. I think Butler's going to do that again, and they're going to take that title home to Indiana.
I actually agree. I think they're experienced. They have a lot of seniors and juniors in this team. They're going to find a way. The last 4 minutes of games in tournament play, we've seen it over and over. They don't make mistakes. They don't turn the ball over. They're smart with the ball. They run their offense when the game is on the line, and I think they're going to find a way to do it and get a title back to Indiana.
Oh yeah, and if any of you watch Hoosiers, and I know a lot of people heard the Hoosiers allegories last year when Butler went to the title game, that Indiana basketball team Hoosiers was based on actually lost the title game, came back and won it the next year.
Yeah, so we'll see if that happens. All right, well, thanks for joining us again on Fireside Sports alongside Andrew Williamson. I'm Kendall Capsule. See you here next time.